Was breaking news this morning. The shocks, the twists, the turns just keep on coming in this story. Bradley Manning sentenced to 35 years in prison. We all knew that yesterday, so that shocked a lot of people. Others thought it was a fair sentence. But then he announces today to the world, through a note from the lawyer and his representative, that he wants to live the remainder of his life as a woman. That picture right there was a military picture released by the Army of him dressed in a wig and lipstick. So in the statement, Manning wrote, "I am Chelsea Manning. I am female. Given the way that I feel, and I have felt since childhood, I want to begin hormone therapy as soon as possible. I hope that you will support me in this transition." So this just a day after he was sentenced to 35 years in prison after having been found guilty of 20 charges for the leaks that are now infamous, 700,000 documents released to WikiLeaks while he was in Iraq. So what is this all about? And we're talking about your reactions today to this, I think, shocking turn of event. Dr. Daniela, we have to start with you. I know you've worked with people in the military before who have gone through this type of transition. How do you read this whole situation?
Well, first of all, for many people, he's right now just a gift that won't stop giving.
Well, in terms of the news, and a lot of people want to talk about it for sure.
Absolutely. My heart goes out to him because I was actually specializing for a while in working with people who wanted to go through SRS, ladies, that's sex reassignment surgery. And interesting enough, my clients all lived the hard lifestyle before. Many of them were married, many of them were in the military and actually had professions that were quite dangerous. And they always explained to me, I wanted to prove that I am what I am, but I knew since childhood that I was really trapped in the wrong body. And it's really hard to understand when you're out there because probably, Anna, all of you ladies are beautiful. You wake up in the morning and you feel at home with yourselves, hopefully. But these people really go through that looking at themselves. I am in a woman's body or in a man's body, but that's not me. My mind is different. And so I hear him, he's saying, I want to transition, I want hormone treatment, ultimately I want sex reassignment surgery. But the taxpayer might say, not on my dime.
We don't want to pay for it.
And the facility where he's going to, Dawn, actually says already, not here, you can have therapy, which is important, but we will not give you what you're asking for.
Well, Dr. Daniela, why do you think now? Why do you think he did it? Do you think he feels the freedom now to do it because he is about to go to prison? Do you think that he wanted to make sure he was going to be protected while in prison? Why now?
Well, I think it's very interesting. See, his life has crumbled, right? However you see him as a whistleblower or as a traitor, everything has changed. So he has now all the time to think about and really he has nothing anymore to lose.
I see.
And I think he wants to come clean, maybe. That's what he is. He wants to be a woman. That's how he feels.
It did come out during trial, but I think it's a fact that a lot of us missed because it wasn't made a big deal of. But the Army did talk about this whole gender identity crisis, as they called it, in trial. And they said this is part of who he is. You wonder if it led to any bitterness of his position in the military, if people knew about that.
That was part of the defense, and that's what kind of caused him to come unglued and caused him to leak these documents, is his sexual identity issues. But the other thing is, the thing about American prisons is that they protect basic human rights. Unlike prisons in other parts of the world, you are allowed to kind of live a dignified life in prison. So the question is gender reassignment a basic human right? And I think that it's an issue that is still so new that nobody really knows what to make of it.
Sure. I mean, you start seeing gender-neutral bathrooms in schools. Are we going to see gender-neutral or different types of gender assignment?
Or prisons, because would he serve in a male or female prison?
I mean, that's a question that a lot of people are asking. And then others have even suggested, well, maybe he's trying to do this, for that purpose, to serve better time in a women's prison. It doesn't seem like that's the case. This has been a real issue central to who he is for many years.
But does he have the right then in prison to be entitled to hormone therapy?
We asked our Facebook friends about what you thought on this very controversial topic, and Frank Cava says he's working his way around the hard labor part of Leavenworth Prison. Samantha Gerard, smart man, I'd rather be in a women's prison than a men's if I had to choose. Linda Davis, smart. The government will pay for it, and that was your point, Dr. Schreier. People concerned about who's going to pay for this expensive surgery.
Leavenworth is known for having them work, really long, hard hours. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
But he has no choice or no chance to go to a women's prison because he has not started his hormone treatment. And to your point, in the past, there was an inmate in prison, and he actually filed a lawsuit, and he was granted to go further with the hormone treatment and also with SRS, but sex reassignment surgery. But in this this case, it has not started. His gender is still in his passport, I think, as well, as a man, and so he will serve as a man.
So even though he wants to be called Chelsea as of today, he still physically is a man, so there will be no choice. I get what you're saying there. Let's talk about Marissa Mayer, because she's again causing controversy. She's one of the most controversial CEOs, I think, in America right now. And this is so interesting, because I think it is a real hard look at women's place in the workplace and a powerful CEO like her. So she poses for Vogue magazine. And she looks fabulous. I mean, who can deny it? September issue of Vogue magazine, lounging on a hammock, wearing a Michael Kors, beautiful stilettos. Who could overlook those? They're just gorgeous. But a lot of women are saying, hey, this is a complete step backwards. We fight so hard to prove where we got there, and that she's showing off this image as if, you know, it's somehow her looks or her body that got her there. I'm so interested to hear what you guys say about this.
Well, there are some executives who have come out and said, well, wait a minute, you know, this is okay that she was in Vogue magazine, and she should have been, but in a different pose. Why did she have to be sexy? They're saying it gives bad attention to Yahoo. It kind of puts it in a different light. But on the other hand, it does show that she can be sexy, and she can be smart, and she can lead a company. So now many are questioning whether there's a double standard here. You know, why are we analyzing this when we don't analyze when another CEO, like a Virgin Atlantic, does silly things, puts on clown faces and things? No one says anything about that. Oh, it's funny. But when she does something like this, then there's a controversy.
See, I love this photo. When I saw it last week, I stared at it for a good minute because I thought it was such a beautiful image. And I think at this time, young women don't have very many positive female role models. So if this causes an 18-year-old college student reading Vogue to think, I can be a CEO of a tech company, this is cool.
And
this
still
is
be
cooler.
sexy?
Yeah, well, this is cooler than being Kim Kardashian. You know, that this is a positive role model.
I was looking at, can't you be smart and beautiful and lead a company? You know, why is that a contradiction? Why is that wrong? One tweet, though, caught my attention that I saw today. This is something I wouldn't personally do, one woman writes, because I believe if you want to be treated equal, you shouldn't take advantage of your physical assets. Dr. Daniela, what's your response to that? You deal with these kinds of body images all the time.
For me, actually, this is a step forward, not a step backward. You can be very hard driving, you can be successful and smart, but as women, we are still profoundly different from men. It doesn't mean that I have to neglect my body, that I don't wear any makeup, or that I can't be a fashionista.
You don't have to look frumpy, right?
Exactly. It means she is not appearing like, I'm sorry, you're skimpily dressed. She was very appropriately dressed, as a matter of fact. And in my opinion, we have to embrace the full picture. If you ladies see a CEO and he's dressed in an Armani suit, a nice pair of shoes, oh, he catches my eyes. I like it because I know we cannot only talk about business, but we're talking about fashion.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's a little different for women, and I have to say this, because as soon as women are in that position, there are so few of them that you start becoming representative of the female CEO, and I think it's a little bit of baggage you have to carry, but isn't that real? Isn't that true?
But can you look back to when we were growing up? Were there any women in business that you looked up to? I wish that we had role models like this, and I think that if this encourages women to present that full picture, then, and if it makes other women want to be like her, then I think that's an extremely positive
Except
thing.
she makes it look so easy. She's a mom, she's beautiful, she runs one of the biggest companies, she makes all this dough, and she makes it look effortless. That's the only criticism I have of her. We got to talk about the porn industry, something we don't often talk about on the chat room, or really on television at all. Because apparently production has shut down now in Los Angeles, totally shut down. I had to ask my producer, are you sure it's really shut down? She says, yes, it's totally shut down because this moratorium was announced after one actor tested positive for HIV. They're taking this so seriously. All of the actors' partners being tested. I mean, porn stars get around, right? So there are lots of people to be tested. Production is only going to continue after everyone is cleared. So it just brings up the whole debate about porn stars wearing condoms and the whole everything around this. What do you guys
I read this and I thought, isn't there enough porn in the world to last us through a moratorium? There's got to be, right?
I think so.
There's quite a backlog of porn. So I'm not that worried about the moratorium. But I do think that it's interesting because this is a group of workers that you don't often think about having rights and health rights. And so it's a fair point to make that they should be wearing condoms.
Yeah.
Well, I have
No
to
one
say,
wants to comment.
I love to comment.
Let's see. No. Yeah, I don't know. I feel that they should all, if they want to be protected, have a right to be protected. I do believe that. But yes, it's tough to analyze this because they chose to go into that industry and they knew what the conditions were at the time, that they weren't protected. So it's really tough. You know, I would have to talk to someone in the industry to see, you know, what their opinions were about it.
But see, it's market driven. It's about economy, and there's a huge segment of the population following it. It's about money, and many of them want to see actually where discretion is advised, right? So the condom might come up for them as something really disturbing because that is what they might have to use at home. So I am all for protection of the workers, but then you have also to go a step forward because sexually transmitted diseases in form of herpes or other things can also be transmitted via kissing or kissing lips or other organs. So where do we then draw the lines, ladies?
Well,
So
there is a movement to get them to make it mandatory to wear condoms, but the porn industry doesn't like that because they say that's not what people are looking for when they view porn.
See, that's why
they're fighting back.
Yeah, we'd have to talk to the actors to see really what they want because it's really tough. You know, for all these years there wasn't protection.
It's a big price to pay,
Right.
but maybe, as you say, something you kind of sign up for.